Welcome to the Reflections on Leadership podcast with Carl Bimshaw.
All right, so we're going to dive into this Disposable Journal Weekend Edition you've been asking about. That's a pretty bold idea, right? Decluttering your emotions in just a weekend. We're going to see if it lives up to the hype, using excerpts from the journal itself and the online description.
Yeah, it's interesting. This journal really taps into this whole thing people seem to want these days, that quick fix, especially when it comes to something as personal as journaling.
Totally. Everyone wants to be efficient these days, right? But I got to say, this whole disposable thing is throwing me off a little. Isn't the point of a journal to hold on to your thoughts, your memories? And this one's calling itself therapeutic, even has a whole release ritual where you destroy it.
That's where the whole concept of therapeutic writing comes in. It's not so much about preserving memories, but more about processing emotions. They've actually done studies on this,
Yeah.
Just the simple act of writing down your thoughts and feelings can be really cathartic.
Oh, okay. So it's more about the process than the actual journal itself. Kind of like how just making a to-do list can make you feel organized, even if you never end up looking at it again.
Exactly. It's about getting it all out of your head onto paper. It's like you're transferring the weight of it.
Which seems to be kind of the whole point of this journal, based on the description at least, unburdening yourself. But then they take it a step further with this whole destruction thing. Burning it, shredding, burying. Feels kind of symbolic, doesn't it?
Oh, it's definitely symbolic.
Yeah.
And there's a reason that idea is so appealing to people. Just imagine, you spend the weekend really digging into some tough emotions, getting it all out on paper, and then, instead of letting those words just sit there, you get to do this very deliberate thing. You destroy it.
Yeah, it's like you're closing a chapter, literally turning the page on those feelings. I can see the appeal in that for sure, especially for someone who tends to, hold on a little too tight to things, emotionally speaking, of course.
And there's actually some real psychology behind why rituals like that can be so powerful, creating a sense of closure, marking a transition.
It's like giving yourself permission to actually let go, and not just mentally, but physically too. But okay. Rituals aside, let's talk about the more practical side of this thing. The journal lays out a pretty structured plan for this whole emotional detox, doesn't it?
Yeah, that structure is actually super important, especially with the limited time frame. You're not journaling for hours and hours. It's more like these focused 20-minute sessions, and each one has a theme and prompts.
That's what I was thinking. 20 minutes doesn't feel like a lot to unpack. Well, a whole lot of emotional baggage. But I guess it's more about quality over quantity, right?
Exactly. They've really thought about how to use those 20 minutes to guide you through a very deliberate emotional process. It's kind of like a guided meditation, but with pen and paper. And honestly, sometimes that focused writing can be way more powerful than just journaling freely for hours.
So it's less about trying to write something amazing and more about cutting to the chase. Emotionally, I mean. I can definitely see how that would be helpful, especially for someone who might feel a little overwhelmed by the idea of traditional journaling.
Totally. And the journal actually says that too. It's not about perfect writing or anything like that. It's about honest expression, just getting those raw feelings down, however they come out.
And speaking of raw feelings, wow, some of these session titles are intense. Isolate the pain, physical manifestations. It's definitely not your typical gratitude journal or anything.
Right. It seems like the goal is to really get to the root of what's going on instead of just scratching the surface. By actually confronting those tougher emotions, the idea is that you can then work through them more effectively.
That makes sense. Okay, so here's something I thought was really interesting. They really emphasize that this journal is for your eyes only, no sharing or judgment. With how much pressure there is these days to present a perfect image, online especially, that could be incredibly freeing for people.
Absolutely. It all ties back into that honesty thing we were talking about. When you know you're writing just for yourself with no judgment, you're more likely to be totally truthful and let your guard down, which is usually when the real magic happens.
It's like creating this little safe space for yourself to really go deep without being afraid of what anyone else will think. Okay, but let's get to the heart of it here. Can this journal really deliver on its promise of a lighter heart and clearer mind? That's a pretty big claim, even with all the structured journaling and the ritualistic burning and everything. Do you think it's actually realistic to expect a dramatic transformation like that in just a weekend? Do you think it's actually realistic to expect a dramatic transformation like that in just a weekend?
Well, everyone's different, right?
Yeah.
And emotional well-being, it's a journey, not like a destination you just arrive at. I don't think this journal is some kind of magic solution, but it definitely gives you a structured way to really face what's bothering you head on. And from there, you can start to move forward.
So maybe not a complete emotional makeover, but a step in the right direction.
Exactly. And there's one more thing we haven't really touched on yet that plays into this whole moving forward idea.
Yeah.
It's the letter to your future self.
Oh, yeah, that. I was curious about that part. What's the point of writing to your future self? It always seemed a little, I don't know, cheesy to me, like a classic self-help gimmick.
It might sound cheesy, yeah, but there's actually something really powerful about it when you actually sit down and do it. Think about it. You've spent the weekend really digging deep into your emotions. And then, instead of dwelling on the past, you shift gears completely. That letter forces you to focus on the future. What do you want to accomplish? What kind of person do you want to be?
Oh, I see what you mean. So it's like taking everything you've unpacked emotionally and turning it into something like positive and actionable.
Exactly. And the journal really encourages you to get specific too. What are your goals? What steps can you take to actually achieve them? Writing it all down, it's almost like you're making a promise to yourself.
Yeah.
And because you're supposed to keep that letter somewhere, you'll see it often. It becomes this constant reminder of your intentions, but also the progress you're making.
So even if someone...
And hey, even if the whole disposable thing feels a bit too out there for some people, this idea of writing that letter to your future self, that's something everyone can take away from this. It's a really powerful exercise on its own.
Totally. And that's a great note to end on, I think. If you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, whatever it is, try taking some time to write down what you want your future to look like. You might be really surprised at what comes up, how much clarity it brings, and who knows, maybe it'll even inspire you to finally tackle that to-do list that's been gathering dust.
Now there's a thought.
Thank you for listening to the Reflections on Leadership podcast, produced by Carl Bimshaw Consulting, the leadership development and accountability firm that helps busy professionals to challenge, disrupt, and dramatically reduce the influence of lousy leadership in their business. Learn more at carlbimshawconsulting.com. Manage better, lead well.